Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? I know it's not a big room. Everybody okay? Right. Thanks for giving me the warm welcome. As many of you will know, data has actually become the lifeblood of the marketer everywhere. We live in a data-driven world where each and every time you switch on a mobile device, you're actually leaving a digital footprint. And that digital footprint means that actually we know more about you every time you visit a website. So most marketers today, however, are challenged in the fact that they're not using that data to its fullest advantage. And the amount of data that's coming into them on a day-by-day basis is increasing each and every day. It seems like personalization has been around for decades. Many people will have seen, Hello John or whatever it might be on their email or whatever it is. But what I'm trying to be able to do today is not tell you how to, or pushing the envelope. I'm just trying to give you a reason why data is now more important. In a recent survey, we actually surveyed, using YouGov actually, to be able to pull around 2,000 British consumers. And we found quite some interesting facts. The first fact that we found was, surprisingly, most of us have around 260 unopened emails in our inboxes. What's even more surprising is 50% of those emails are actually from brands they've subscribed to. We also asked another question. Why do people reject emails or not open them? 48% or nearly 50% of people, and I'm sure we'd all agree, actually found that it was a situation where they got too many emails. But actually 36% of those found that the emails they were getting were irrelevant to what they were looking at. So essentially, people are making their own self-selection with regard to what they're trying to be able to do. What they are interested in, though, is actually the delivery of real-time information relating to their interests. Offers or information relating to previous purchases they might have made. Or increasingly now, we're seeing offers or information relating to the location in which people are in. So we take a look at the traditional customer journey. This is going back a few years, and all marketers sitting in the room will understand this, that the consumer and the marketer had a very parallel coexistence. The marketer was there to be able to stimulate the decision for making purchases along the way, and absolutely, hopefully, that would end up with a conversion at the end. However, it's not got that far. It's supposed to go. This guy has changed everything. We call him the guy that's actually made a difference. He's always connected, rarely engaged, and often distracted. I have actually got 6 kids. I know I don't look old enough, but I have actually got 6 kids, ranging from 15 to 32. And I can actually lay testament to the fact that people interact differently depending upon their generation, even within that kind of time span. So the millennials are now interested in being able to get data as and when they want it. They want to have bite-sized chunks. Actually, Starbucks have coined a phrase called the 140-character generation, where they no longer converse, they talk in statements. They actually don't have any brand loyalty as they used to. So from their perspective, or from the marketer's perspective, we need to interact with those people differently. And if we take a look at their customer journey is very much fragmented. So they're bouncing around from Facebook to mobile devices to in-store, and the poor old marketer is very, very confused as to what he should be doing. So, what do we need to do? It's pretty obvious, but we need to engage at every level across every device. And that means being able to provide a customer-centric, not brand-centric, message to entice interaction. Once that interaction takes place, it has to match the expectations, not just by having a relevant landing page, but the whole customer experience has to match the experience that the customer wants. But how do I ensure that the experience is right and fits the individual? Well, actually, every time, as I said earlier on, we use a device, we're leaving a digital footprint in lots of different places, whether it's Facebook, whether it's using our mobile, our tablet, whether we're on the web, whatever we might be doing on YouTube. And we can help capture all that kind of information to help to be able to develop a profile of the individual that's actually on the site, your website at the time. In this particular instance, we'll call her Jane. Jane stands as an individual, but actually she's part of a much larger group. And she's part of a group of people that we've been monitoring behaviour for over the past N number of years. By looking at that information and the data, we can actually start to see different traits of behaviour which will allow us to be able to drive segmentation. So we can actually have 3 or 4 or even maybe hundreds of different profiles of people. But data provides insight. But if insight is left alone and not dealt with, it actually is as bad as having no data at all. So you need to use that insight to drive your internal systems, your CRM, your electronic data warehouse, maybe your digital marketing platform. You also need to use that data to drive content personalization, as we're talking about here. Triggered emails, not just about abandoned baskets, but about things that are happening as they're going through the site, may be appropriate. Also, when they're not actually in the process of purchasing, you need to use that data to be able to drive marketing automation programs that keeps your brand in the forefront of the consumer. So what to personalize? Personalization has been around for many, many years, perhaps even decades. But we're not just talking about adding a first name in an email. We're actually looking at being able to provide a wholly different experience to the consumer based upon who they are. So typically, the content that you would use to be able to drive personalization as of today is essentially the gender. A returning customer versus a new customer. I'm sure you've all seen it when you go onto a website and say, hello John or hello Jane. That's if your name is John or Jane, that's fine. And also using content or current browsing history and maybe even the device type, mobile versus tablet versus desktop. What we're talking about now to many of our customers is actually about contextual personalization, where in addition to all of the typical stuff that we're doing, we're actually using geolocation, weather information, device operating system, historical browsing history, not just of the individual, but of people within that segment, past purchases, CRM data that's being used, and even utilising data from their loyalty schemes and things like that to be able to improve it. So how can personalisation really help? Just give you a quick example here. We'll call this guy Joseph. Joseph is a very happy customer. He's a customer of WT Bank, and he's actually got £40,000 in his savings account. Lucky Joseph. So when he goes on to WT Bank's website, he makes a search for view savings rates. So most people say, oh, he's just looking at savings rate. But actually, that's an inflection point, which says, actually, why would Joseph, who's got £40,000 in his bank, look at savings rates? Perhaps he's being offered alternative saving rates from an external provider. So instead of delivering the page that you can hopefully, well, it's unfortunately not very clear here, which is the standard savings rates, we should actually be able to provide him with a completely different experience that says extra special savings rates for extra special customers. There's a little bar on the bottom of that, a call to action, which says click that and find out more and register yourself for more information. Joseph's a very busy guy, unfortunately, so he doesn't click on the page. But however, even if he abandons the session, we can still use the data of the transactions or the behaviour that he's been utilising to be able to pass the data to the call centre, to enable the call centre to call him up maybe later on in the day. Or we can pass that information to the app that he's carrying around in his pocket to be able to promote the fact that there are extra special savings rates based on the fact that Joseph has been online and viewed this particular page. And we can also, at the same time, provide that information to the branch as well. So, in essence, what we're being able to do is to follow Joseph around the day, utilising the experience he's had online in more than just being on his online device. Whilst we look at the customer life cycle as being very linear, the process of personalisation is actually circular. So if you look at, we capture the data first of all, then we analyse the data, then we have to optimise that data and personalise the experience. We use action systems, whether it's SMS or text or web behaviour, you're changing web behaviour, and then once that engagement has taken place, we start the whole thing round again. But interestingly, using online data shouldn't just be reserved for using online experiences. We can actually use the data that we capture from the online to be able to deliver a better customer experience when they're in store by maybe using tills, order points, iBeacon technology or something like that. We can actually pass that data to the call centre so they've got a much stronger customer service. And actually, going back to the traditional methods of direct mail, you can even use that data to be able to personalise the direct mail. As my first marketing manager said to me many, many years ago, probably something 20 or 30 said, It's not what you know or who you know that makes the difference. It's actually what you know about who you know that really, really, really makes a difference. Thank you very much.